Welcome back to CodeCraftByAderemi. In this video, I will show you how to create a modern e-commerce product page using only HTML, CSS and JavaScript. No frameworks, beginner friendly. So we are just building the product image, the product name and price, quantity selector, add to cart button and total price. So let's create our HTML file, sorry. We're making use of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We'll try and create our HTML file now. So let's name it index.html. Let's create the CSS file too. We'll name it style.css. And lastly, the JavaScript file. Name it script.js. Okay. Alright. So let's go back to our HTML file. We will start with the HTML structure. Okay. Now let's go to the title. Let's change the title name from document to e-commerce product page. E-commerce product page. So let's create a link that will link our HTML to our CSS. Now the source, start the CSS. Let's do the same for the JavaScript too. Link our JavaScript to our HTML. Scripts.js. Now let's start with the body. Let's create a div. Cool. So we'll have a class. Let's name it product card. Product card. Inside, let's create an image. The image is already there. So if you want to do this, just add an image to it. If you go to the image folder, I already have an image there. So it will be easier for me. You can do the same thing for yours too. Product page. A product image. Let's close it. So the header will be wireless headphone. That's the name of the product. Okay, let's open it with live server. Let's allow it to load. Okay, let's continue. It will open itself. Let's create a paragraph. Give it a class. Price. So that will be the price of the product. Okay, let's say the price is $15,000. $15,000. Okay, we'll create a label too. Then we'll have quantity. Okay, that's opened. Okay, okay, let's continue. Quantity. And let's create an input. Create an input. So the type is going to be number. So let's give it an ID. It will be quantity value. The quantity, sorry. Now it will have a value. It's going to be 1. Then we don't want anything less than 1. So it will have a minimum 1. Let's close it. Then let's create a button. Give it an ID. Add to cart. Add to cart. Now let's create another paragraph. So this paragraph is going to be showing the total. Let's make use of span. Give it an ID. Let's give the span an ID, which is total price. Let's say 15,000, yeah. So let's view it. Okay, it's working perfectly. So let's move to the CSS. We will use the CSS to start the product page. Let's start with the body. The font family. Let's make use of area. Then let's give it a background. Give it a background. F4, F4, F4. Now, display flex. We want everything to be centered. So we'll make use of justify content. Center. Align items to center. Then let's give it a height of 100 VH. Now let's view it in our browser. Okay, everything has been centered. Now let's move to the product card. Let's split it so we can be seeing it and see what we are doing. Okay, now we are styling the product card now. Now let's give it a background of white. Then it will have a padding of 20 pixels. Let's give it a width of 300 pixels. Then border radius 8 pixels. So let's center out the text. So you make use of text align center. Okay, let's view it. Okay, it's working perfect. Now let's go to the image. We are styling the image now. Now let's give it a width of 100%. We want it to cover everything. Then a border radius of 6 pixels. 6 pixels. Okay, you can see the image. You can see the each angle. That's the border radius. Now let's type the price. So let's increase the font size to 20 pixels. And let's give it a color green. Let's do it again. You can see the price. The color changed to green. Now let's type the input. So we want the width to be 60 pixels. Then to have a margin, ten pixels and 0. That is for the horizontal and the vertical. Okay, it's working. Now let's start the button. Let's give it a background. uh, 0056 B3. Okay, let's give it a color. It's going to be white. You don't want it to have a border, so make the border none. Then the padding, it is going to be 10 pixels. Then let's give it a width. The button is going to cover everywhere, so we make it 100%. Then the cursor, make the cursor pointer. And lastly, the border radius. So we'll make it 4 pixels. Okay, the button is working perfect. Let's work on the over. So the background, okay, now what we'll do, let's change the first color to this one. Then we give the first one another color. It's going to be the same color but a little bit light. Let's say light blue. 007 BFF. You can see. Let's view it. You can see anytime we hover on it, the blue will turn, the color will change to a dark blue. If you remove the cursor from it, we go back to the light blue. Now let's start the total now. Let's give it a margin at the top, which is going to be 10 pixels. And lastly, font weight, which is going to be bold. Now let's view it again. Okay, now JavaScript is where the real magic happens. First, we'll select from the HTML using getElementsById. So, example, the quantity input, the total price, and the add to cart button. Those three. Now, after we did that, we'll save them in a variable. First one is quantity input. Document.getElementsById. That is quantity. Okay, do the same for total price. Let's save this variable with total price. Document.get element by ID, and the HTML element is total price. So do the same for the add to cart button. Let's name it add to cart button and follow the same process. What we are doing here is we are selecting the element from the HTML using get element by ID. Then we are now saving it in a variable. We did for the first one, then we save it in a variable called quantity input. We did it for the second one too. Then we save it in a variable called total price. And that's what we are doing for the third one too. That is add to cart. Okay, we are done with that. So let's store the product price inside the variable so that we can reuse it again. Use constant price. So the price is 15,000. So we can now reuse it. Now let's update the total price. That is the quantity input. We are making use of the add event list now. Open brackets. Input. Okay. Now quantity. So equals to quantity input dot value. What we did here now, any input that is any value that is being typed inside the input, it will be what saved here. It will be saved inside the what variable called quantity. Any value that is being put here now will be saved in a variable called quantity. Now we want to make use of the quantity now. Total price test content. So we use this test content to change our HTML. Goes to price. Our price, the variable, the one we did here, times the quantity. Any quantity that is being typed inside the what value. Okay. So whenever the user changes the quantity, JavaScript listens for that change and it will multiply the price by the quantity, then update the total price instantly. Now that's the add to cart button. So here we are making use of alert. Alert product added to cart successfully. So what we did here is when the user clicks the add to cart button, it will simply show a message. So that is the message that is going to what show. It will just pop up the message. So in a real e-commerce app, this would add the product to a cart. But for now, we are focusing on the front end. Now let's do what we did. Now let's increase the quantity. And notice the price. Notice the price. Once we increase the quantity, the price will increase too. So it's going to calculate everything, then update the price. Okay, you can see once we are increasing the quantity, the price also increases. Now let's click that to add button. You can see the pop-up product added to cart successfully. So in summary, HTML builds the structure, CSS makes it beautiful, and JavaScript adds interactivity. This is how a basic e-commerce product page works using pure front-end technologies. If you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the video. See you next week. Thank you.